starting with what I've got from the course already, obviously only halfway through, but really noticing that I'm thinking about things quite differently, particularly my kind of behaviors around LinkedIn, but also networking. So there's things that kind of going into the course, things that maybe scare me or that I'm not kind of hugely comfortable with. But these two areas in particular, I've kind of essentially learned that they aren't actually all that bad at all. They can be learned behaviors, and actually there's quite kind of practical ways of kind of managing all of the various kind of things that we're scared of that we can basically tackle through the support of our peers. There's also a lot of practical tools around challenging negative assumptions. So I'm sure that I won't be the only person on the call that has a bit of a imposter syndrome thing going on. And there's some sort of really useful tools on how you can help challenge yourself to think about things differently. So when I might be thinking that I'm not as good as X person because that they're more creative or they're more intelligent or something else than me, I can kind of then actually have the tools and have the space to realize why that's absolutely not true and think about things in a sort of much more positive light. The other thing that I've got from the course from the outset really is a sort of huge support network of peers through both the sort of wider cohort, but also particularly the peer learning group. And this is sort of a group of women that you can call on to advise you on next steps, to sort of troubleshoot any particular issues that are going on with you at work, or or personally, or a mix of the two. And it might be that these sort of ideas that you're floating around with them, they might just be kind of backing them up and validating them for you, but they also might be bringing a completely different perspective to your thought process and offering up some new insights and ideas which kind of show you a really different way of dealing with a problem that you wouldn't have otherwise known to do. So yeah, I think that the sort of peer group, and particularly my coach as well, so that's Ian for me, and it's just like having a sort of permanent team of cheerleaders to just kind of spur you on, to really support you. They believe in you, they encourage you, and it's just a sort of real like positive bubble that's just a really sort of pleasure to be around, and to just have that really kind of positive network behind you it just feels brilliant. And then I think the sort of other thing, I guess, linking into what I said at the start around networking, I really didn't think that my network would grow that quickly, but it already really has. Sort of from the guest speakers that you have to obviously other women on the course, it's just a lot of doors have already opened, and I think that's a real positive that has come out of it for me, certainly. I think in terms of sort of anyone that sat there wondering why, if you should be doing it, and if it's for you, I'd say that it is really something that you should consider doing. Do something that scares you, if you are scared. I mean, for me, I was a bit apprehensive. Will the sort of virtual learning environment work for me? But I've been genuinely surprised at how the connections I've made virtually, I didn't think that I would. And it's actually been really, really, really easy to form solid relationships with my cohort and my peer learning group. And I think I was also quite apprehensive about the sort of number, 4 hours a week of study time. And it sounds like a lot, but what I can say is that once I get into that workbook and I get into the flow of it, I actually find it really hard to stop and to kind of pull myself away from my laptop and stop typing. And the other reason that you should really kind of take the plunge is that Jill and Ian have really kind of, I think they've worked to really set us all up for success and really smooth the journey with, Nuala mentioned the sort of resources, the workbooks, the course, sort of the rhythm of the course and the way that we kind of go through it. Everything has been made as accessible as possible and easy to follow as possible. There's a lot of hard work, obviously, but in terms of the kind of trajectory, it couldn't be clearer. It is all set out in a really, really sort of useful, clear way, and everyone knows what they should be doing at that time. So I think it's a really kind of a path that, well, it's not even all that well trodden, but it certainly feels like it, already in cohort 2, because it's very seamless. And it's been a great experience so far, and I'm just looking forward to seeing where it ends up.